I think we're ready to go. So welcome everybody. I'm Cameron Bennett. I am Dean of the School of Arts and Communication. So thank you for joining us today. I am joined by some of my illustrious colleagues, chairs of the various departments. So there's Heather Matthews, who is chair of the Department of Art and Design. Wave at us, Heather. There we go. We have Amy Young, who is chair of the Department of Communication.
Hi, everyone.
Brian Galante, who is chair of the Department of Music.
Hi.
And Tom Smith, who is chair of the Department of Theater and Dance.
Hey, everybody.
So as far as what we're going to, these next 30 minutes, I'm going to say maybe a few words about our entire school. To the dean, I've been here for about 10 years now, and time flies. And arts and communication, we are really big on campus. So when you think about all of the various disciplines, probably half of the student body each and every year participates in our programs. So we have about 500 majors, about 175 minors, but just about 1 out of every 2 undergrads on campus participates in one way or another. So we are really good. And in a normal year, when you think about the number of events that we produce, I think this past year we had 275 or 276 different events on campus, 6,000 participants. So these are obviously multiple students, multiple faculty, multiple times, and to an audience of 39,000 total people. So this in Tacoma on campus, in Seattle, and the various runouts that many of our ensembles do. So we touch a lot of people. So let me go around and have each of my colleagues a little bit about themselves, a little bit about the department, and then we'll turn it over to questions. So Heather, start us off.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Matthews. I'm the chair of the Department of Art and Design. And our department offers 2 different paths for studio artists, and we also have a degree for art history. And so I'm just going to quickly sketch what you can do to be a working artist at PLU. So we have a Bachelor of Arts in Studio Art, and we have a Bachelor of Arts in Art History, and we also have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in the studio areas. So students who choose to do a studio degree are essentially choosing to do a more generalized degree in the Bachelor of Arts, where frequently they want to double major in another area, or they want to take on 1 or 2 minors. Bachelor of Arts allows them the space to do that within their overall curriculum. So we have plenty of students who are double majoring in studio art and Hispanic studies, or studio art and environmental studies, history, anthropology, in the sciences. So it's an opportunity to broaden your areas of expertise while you're in college. In the Bachelor of Fine Arts, that is our professional degree. And students who choose to do a BFA in studio art are looking to go a little bit more deeply into a single area. So graphic design or painting, maybe printmaking or ceramics. They're looking to spend more time with one medium. And we have a very robust program in, well, I've just mentioned most of them, but I'll go through all of our studio areas so that you know what we have to offer. We have graphic design, printmaking, photography, ceramics, sculpture, and painting. I think that's enough for me for now. I'm happy to answer questions later, and I'll pass it on to my colleague, Dr. Young.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Young. I'm the chair of the Department of Communication, and I have been at PLU for about 13 years. And I just want to tell you a little bit about our program. We are invested in communication in both the academic study of communication as a discipline, but also a variety of application possibilities and contexts. We have 3 concentrations. All of these are bachelor's degrees, so I do want to say that our curriculum is designed to be able to finish even with a second major, with a minor or more than 1 minor. and even coming in as a transfer student to be able to finish on time. So we have 3 concentrations. They are communication and civic engagement, which is probably our most traditional communication studies concentration. And then we have film and media studies and strategic communication, both of which are designed to be more split between theory and analysis on the one hand and application on the other. We also have a set of what we call applied contexts, and all of these count toward either a minor or a major, and they are debate, media lab, which is a by application and selection only on-campus kind of communication consultancy and film making group. And also student media, which houses radio, laser, that's laser, and mass TV, showrunners, which is also doing television, and the Mooring Mast, which is our student newspaper. And all of those things also count for course credit. So if you're interested in participating in them, you need to have 0 experience. You can walk on and do them. And also they can count toward a minor or a major in communication. So you can be doing something that you're interested in professionally and also getting credit for it, which we think is pretty dope. I will pass it on to Dr. Galante to talk about music.
Hi everyone, I'm Brian Galante, chair of the music department. I've been at PLU for 12 years, and I also conduct the University Chorale, which is one of our mixed choirs. We have 4 large degree programs that then branch off into various levels of concentration and focal points. Starting at the Bachelor of Arts degree, that's a degree for those who want significant studies in music, but also would like to couple it with a degree or a minor outside of the music area. And then we have what's called the Bachelor of Musical Arts degree. Again, it's for someone who's thinking about perhaps a double major or thinking about a career that involves the arts or involves music, but is really not focused on specific performance or specific music education. Students who do the Bachelor of Musical Arts degree generally are coupling it with communication or coupling it with something in business, considering a career in arts administration or management. And then moving up into our higher credit degrees, we have the Bachelor of Music, which is a degree in performance, and you can major in voice, instrumental studies, keyboard or piano, and composition. And then we also have the Bachelor of Music Education degree. We are very well regarded for all our degrees, but particularly so for music ed. We are truly blessed with outstanding faculty and excellent students who work really hard, and we're very proud of the fact that students who graduate from our programs in music education are placed and placed well. In fact, we have a 100% placement rate for those students. Music department's a busy place. We run between 150 to 200 performances per year. We have anywhere from 750 to 900 students involved in our various ensembles, lessons, classes. It's a really exciting and energetic place. Lots of really fantastic things happening with wonderful students and terrific faculty who are out there in the biz doing it. And so they bring all of their experience and all of their knowledge and skill to the students. It's really wonderful to see. I'll turn it over to Tom Smith now for theater.
Good. Hey, everybody. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the degrees that you could earn in the areas of theater and dance. So we have 2 minors. We have a minor in theater and a minor in dance. We also have 4 majors. One's a bachelor's degree in theater, which is a really great degree for students that are interested in double majoring or want to major in theater but minor in something else, or for those of you that maybe want to go on and become high school theater teachers. That's a really great degree. And then we have 3 professional degrees that are part of our Bachelor of Fine Arts, our BFA programs. Those are in acting, directing, design tech, and musical theater. all of our auditions are open to everyone on the entire campus, so you don't need to be a major or a minor to audition. We do 10 productions a year. About half of those are directed by students. So for those of you that might be interested in directing, just know that there's a lot of great opportunities for that on our campus. And that's a little bit about theater and dance.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody. So I'm going to read through some questions. We received a whole bunch actually ahead of time. And again, we're receiving them as you type them. So please, just a reminder, if you got questions as we go through, go to the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen and type it in, and we will get to it. So the first question is, let's say I am a major in any one of our areas. And now we're talking gen ed. Do I still have to do the arts requirement? Brian, let's throw that to you.
Yes, but in most cases, the arts requirement is satisfied by one of the courses in our degree. In fact, many courses in our degree. In music in particular, we have a course, Music and Culture, which satisfies not only the arts requirement, but also the cross-cultural component of the gen ed program.
And does that work in the other areas? Heather, does that work in art and design?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of our courses count for the art requirement with the arts requirement within the general education area. And my gender and art history course also counts for the alternative perspectives course in the gen ed. So yeah, you can double up on those.
Okay, so key is takeaway there. If I'm an art major or a theater major, I don't have to take another course outside my discipline in another art area to fulfill the art requirement. So
Correct.
Great. All right, Brian, this one's directed to you. So let's talk auditions for ensembles. I'm a major, I'm coming in, or even if I'm not a major, do I audition in the fall for a specific ensemble? Like if I want to be in Choir of the West, or if I want to be in the jazz band, or am I just auditioning in general for ensembles?
Well, we do. We hold auditions the first weekend of the fall semester. It usually coincides with Labor Day weekend. And all of our students audition every year for the ensembles. There is an opportunity to indicate a preference in particular ensembles. That's more so in the instrumental area. There's a questionnaire that students fill out to indicate whether they want to be considered for wind ensemble, jazz ensemble, orchestra, or concert band. There's also a place to indicate any schedule conflicts or any work commitments that may impact attendance at rehearsals and or performances. On the choral side, we audition all of the students every year. It involves coming in and singing a solo selection. There is an opportunity to let us know of schedule conflicts or study away programs or things like that. But we go into a pretty significant set of recall auditions after that initial solo. And it really is about putting the student in the best place for not only the ensemble, but for the success of the student. We are certainly mindful of the fact that Choir of the West is, a famous ensemble on campus, and there's a big desire to be in that program. But we're thinking also more holistically about the program itself and balancing numbers within the groups, and also figuring out ways to set up the student to be successful in those ensembles. There are high time commitments for some of those advanced ensembles, and we want to make sure everybody's ready for the challenges that they're facing.
Great. And the key component is that as you're coming in, you're going to get registration materials throughout the summer, and you're also going to have a time on campus to register. You will have a sheet in there that is going to ask you, do you want audition for one of our music ensembles? And check it off, and we will take it from there and have you scheduled for those auditions come the fall. Tom, yeah, let's turn it to you. So say I want to be in the first play that's happening this fall. Do I check off a box, or do I have to audition, or how's that work?
So what we do in our department is we audition throughout the year for each of our shows. So in case you miss a set of auditions, we're usually only about 2 or 3 weeks away from the next set of auditions. Because we do 10 shows in a 9-month school year, that means that we are doing more than one show a month, which means that there's always a lot of opportunities to get involved. For us, what we do is if it is a musical, we ask you to prepare either 16 or 32 bars of a Broadway show tune. If it's a play, we ask you to do a 60-second monologue. It may be a contemporary monologue if the play is contemporary, or it may be a classic monologue if we're doing something like Shakespeare or a Greek play. The easiest way to find out what's going on in our department is just to pop by whenever you get on campus. We have a orientation for students interested in theater and dance opportunities that happens usually within the first week of classes. We also have what's called a Sakai site, which is just basically a way for us to kind of like a listserv to communicate throughout the year to all the students who sign up for it, to let them know what auditions are coming next, how to sign up for those auditions, and what to prepare for those auditions. Next year, we'll be opening up with a musical review called Broadway at the Movies, where we're doing songs from Broadway musicals that have been made into films and films that have been made into Broadway musicals. That's going to happen the first week of classes. So for those of you that might be really interested in musical theater, basically at this point in time, just prepare either 16 or 32 bars of a Broadway show tune, and you'll be set for auditions in the fall.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom. Amy, this one's for you. This is from a student that's written in, and they're interested in broadcasting. So they'd like to pursue broadcasting for a career. What should they be pursuing in communication to do that?
So really the answer is you could do anything in any of our concentrations in communication and be set up pretty well for broadcast. But I think probably the clearest path would be to select a concentration in film and media studies, because in that concentration, the emphasis is on creating, writing, editing, producing, and then circulating across a variety of media platforms. We have students who are doing everything from traditional sort of DJing to podcasts on radio. They're in many cases creating their own material and are very entrepreneurial about it. We have students who are doing television on both mass TV and also in showrunners. And we're having students who are doing film of all kinds, narrative film, documentary film. Media Lab does a long form nonfiction documentary film every year. They have been nominated 8 times in the last 10 years for Emmys, and they have won 4 college Emmys. So that is an organization that you might want to think about. Some of the opportunities are really up to you. I mean, if as much as you want to get involved, you can. So you can certainly get a lot of experience in classes, but we also really encourage you to pursue those interests outside. And like my colleagues have talked about, you really can show up and just get started. I mean, we're happy to be here to be a place where you learn in a laboratory kind of setting how to do this, and to have as much experience as you want, and to build a portfolio of your work, which I think is really important for students. So.
Great, and I can chime in also that the success of our COM program, we have graduates working in broadcast media up and down the West Coast. So yeah, Seattle area, Tacoma, Olympia, down in California, Oregon. So some really successful students have come out of our programs, and all due to the program that we put forth. So Amy and her colleagues, so great job.
Absolutely.
Heather, so I got a note from a student. So let's say I am extremely interested in both sculpture and graphic design. Can I double major in both?
We can't do a double major in 2 studio areas, but there's usually a lot of room for a student to take the courses that they want within amongst all of the areas. So I would say if you chose to do the Bachelor of Arts, you have plenty of time to take multiple courses in 2 areas. So we require 2 3D classes, so you could certainly take 2 or more sculpture classes. You are required to take a 2-dimensional course, and that could be in graphic design, and then you can just take more classes as you feel you want. I think the main takeaway from our 2 degrees is, if you choose to do the BA, you have an opportunity to generalize a little bit. So you could put emphasis in 2 areas. You can't major in 2 areas, but the BA allows you a little bit more flexibility that way.
Okay, great, great. So a questions come in about class size and what's the average class size in our different majors. And I can maybe talk in general. I would say some of our intro classes, so intro to comm, some of the intro art history classes, you might have 30 students, you might have 25, 30, sometimes 35. But as soon as you get into the more specific studio classes, the more advanced classes in the major, then generally we are in the 10 to 15 to 17 area as far as class size. And certainly when you think about music, you have plenty of your classes that are one-on-one because you're doing individual lessons. In your studio classes in art design, you might have 10, 12 students in a class, but your professor is working on you one-on-one because you're working at a specific station. Tom, similar in theater. Some of the intro classes might have 25 or 30, but as soon as you get into the more advanced acting classes, costume classes, design classes, we are in, you're talking 10, 12, 15, kind of that area. All of the areas, the same question asked about, can we minor? And pretty much just a thumbs up on everybody, right? Every area can be a minor. In fact, in theater and dance, the only degree we have in dance is a minor. So, what academic support do we have in SOAC? So we have things, obviously everything that the university offers, the Center for Student Success impacts students in our areas, but we also have specific tutors that work. Maybe Brian, you can talk in music, how the tutors work in music.
Yeah, we have a student tutor who is recommended and nominated by the faculty, and she has a number of hours that are set both for appointments, and there are just open hours, and she is available to work with everything from theory to ear training to history, to being a sounding board as students are preparing for their juries. That's one area. And then, of course, we always encourage students to take advantage of faculty office hours. And that's the opportunity for, specific questions to be asked of faculty. And I know from my own experience, faculty are always thrilled when students show up for that and, give us someone to talk to.
Exactly. Study away opportunities. And so we have multiple different ways of doing study away at PLU. We certainly have multiple different ways of doing it in the School of Arts and Communication. It can range for a January class away. We have a January term at PLU. I'm sure you've heard about that, where you're talking about 3.5 or 4 weeks of intensive study on a singular course. And many of those are study away in another country or parts of this country. There's opportunities for an entire semester away, whether that is one of our gateway programs or something else. And then there's the added components in the music area where they actually do tours. So the ensembles will tour either across the country, regionally, nationally, and also every other year they do an international tour. So maybe, Amy, can you talk maybe a few about the study away opportunities that comm students have participated in?
Yeah, so we have actually worked with the Wong Center, which is the center on campus that is the sort of place that you go if you're interested in study away of any kind, whether that's domestic or international. And we have identified 6 programs that meet requirements that we have already laid out because we know the courses that they're offering and we know how they transfer in. So we're really careful, especially in those programs, to make sure that if you are in that program, that there are courses that we know count directly for a course that would be part of your major or your minor, so that you're doing
Sure.
credit, and it's important that the credit is recognized in the major or the minor, and in some cases in gen ed as well. And then we have students who just kind of decide they don't want to do one of those, they want to do something else. And we've had people who have gone and done an intensive film course, for instance, and they were in Austria doing a film course. And it was an intensive study in film, and we made sure that there was a literature gen ed met by one of the classes that was in film, and also another upper division course in film and media studies that was met by doing that study. And this, this woman just decided that's what she wanted to do, and that's fine too. What we really try to do is support your ambition and figure out a way that the study away program that you would like to do can work within the major or the minor, and again, sometimes a gen ed as well.
Great. Brian, can you maybe say a few words about the touring component? Because that's kind of a unique study away opportunity we provide for our ensembles.
Yeah, so we have a kind of a tiered system of tours. We'll have ensembles go out for regional tours in the spring semester. Those are, generally within a kind of 3-state area here, as far as we can get on a bus in a few days. And then we have the J-term tours, and that's a rotation. We'll have, say, just this past year, we had Choir of the West. Started their rehearsals on January 3rd and prepped their materials in a week and a half, and then went out on a tour to New Mexico and Colorado. And then the international tours are also on a bit of a rotation. We have the instrumental ensembles slated to tour in summer of 21. And they're looking at a tour of Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Ireland. Choir of the West just did a tour last summer, Scotland, and then into Germany. So the choral groups are basically every 4 years, and the instrumental groups are basically 4 years, and that rotates.
Great, thank you. Question about work study. So we have there are office jobs specifically in the dean's office, in the Department of Music office, but there are more specific types of work study, both in art and design and theater. So maybe Heather and Tom, you both can say a few words about that. Heather, start with you.
Sure. So we have positions in each of our studio areas for students to serve as teaching assistants. They're generally referred to as teaching assistants. They're really, in some ways, kind of studio techs. They're responsible for maintenance of equipment. They're, and kind of important daily jobs that have to be done in the spaces. So making sure that all of our tools are clean and functional, making sure that the space is safe, making sure that supplies are ready when students need them. But they're also generally experienced students, so they're great resources as far as actually teaching concepts to their peers. So our studio assistants kind of do a range of jobs.
Great. And then Tom, how's that work?
In theater and dance, we have student employment opportunities in our scene shop. Those students work on scenery, props, and lighting. We have positions in our costume shop, our box office, and we also have a student social media person that does all of our social media for us.
Smart.
So yeah, so there are a lot of student employment opportunities within our various departments. So we're getting close to the end here. So I got a final question, and this is going to go down to everybody. So stay tuned here. Why do you love teaching at PLU? How's that, Heather? We'll start with you.
Oh, I love my students and my colleagues. That sounds really pat and unoriginal, but I am surrounded by caring and motivated people every day at work, and it's a fantastic atmosphere. We have very motivated students who are resourceful and inventive, and we have faculty members who are incredibly experienced in their professional areas, but also really intuitive and empathetic teachers, and it's just a wonderful place to be. I can't imagine being anyplace else, actually.
Great. Amy, your thoughts?
Well, that was really good. I don't want to follow Heather. I like teaching at PLU, I think because students always go beyond where I think their limits are. And so I've sort of stopped setting limits as a faculty member because people just blow right through them. So I have expectations and people generally just exceed them without my bothering to ask. And I think that's just sort of the ethos of this place. And I think the same thing is true of my colleagues, especially those assembled here.
Great. Brian, your thoughts?
I am constantly amazed by what we are able to accomplish at a small school. And that certainly owes a lot to the faculty who are motivated and are very interested in challenging the students. But it is also a real testament to the type of students that we attract at PLU and their can-do attitude. You know, the biggest project or the hardest music or the longest rehearsal, you know, I won't say that they never complain about it, but there's a spirit of let's just roll up our sleeves and do this because we know the work is worth it. And that has, you know, I count my blessings because I really, I think about that often. And I think it's something that makes us a truly special place.
Great. And Tom, your thoughts?
I am always really impressed with the amount of care that is expressed from faculty to students, but from students to other students. Care is a really major part of the fabric of the university. It's in our mission statement, which is very unique. But it's the kind of place where students really check in on each other. There's a lot of discussion about making sure that we recognize the diversity of our student population and their backgrounds and their experiences so that everybody sort of has a seat at the table. And I think that's really, really remarkable. And it shows up in funny, small ways. In the theater department, students are equally excited somebody got the role. You know, they're not grousing about the fact that they didn't get the role. But even on campus, you'll see people hold doors for each other for a very long period of time sometimes. It's part of the fabric of care that PLU instills, and especially in the arts, which can sometimes feel competitive, that sense of care and nurturing really makes it a warm and wonderful place to come to every day.
Great. Thank you, Tom. So we're out of time. If my dogs are telling me we're apparently out of time. So we have, if there are other questions that we didn't get to, be assured that either one of us or the admissions office will reach out to you. If you have specific questions though that are even beyond what you submitted today, reach out to any one of us online. It's an easy website to tackle. Our email addresses are there. Please reach out to us. We are happy to answer any questions. And if you think this was a good idea to do one of these, we are happy to do one again. About 50 people here today that joined us. So pleasure to be with you today. If you are also one of many students that is interested in both the arts and athletics, which many are, remind you there is an athletic session starting at 2 p.m. this afternoon. And we actually do work really well with the coaches for students to be able to not only participate in our ensembles and our plays, but also be able to attend the practices in the late afternoons often for the athletic teams. So thank you for coming. Bye-bye, and stay safe. Thanks,
everyone.
Bye-bye.